Little boxes on the hillside, little boxes made of ticky-tacky, little boxes, little boxes, little boxes all the same. There's a green one and a pink one and a blue one and a yellow one, and they're all made out of ticky-tacky and they all look just the same. And the people in the houses all went to the university, and they all got put in boxes, little boxes all the same. And there's doctors and there's lawyers and business executives, and they all get put in boxes and they all come out the same. And they all play on the golf course and drink their martini dry, and they all have pretty children, and the children go to school, and the children go to summer camp, and then to the university, and they all get put in boxes and they all come out the same. And the boys go into business and marry and raise a family, and they all get put in boxes, little boxes all the same. There's a green one and a pink one and a blue one and a yellow one, and they all made out of ticky-tacky and they all look just the same.
It's a good lead-in for what we're really facing. And it's a bunch of black boxes, and we don't know what's inside of them. And there's 4 of them in general, and there's the medical box, and the insurance box, and the government box, and the equipment box. Now what that means, if you'll flip it, we'll look at the medical box. As you know, medicine has a long tradition, and this is one of the first practitioners. And what you'll notice about doctors is that they dress kind of funny. This is the first one, and then we bring it right up to date, and now they still dress funny. And that's how you can recognize it. All right? But the important part of that is to realize that doctors forever have been those people that we go to because we don't know what they know, and we have pain and suffering. All right? And there are a variety of kinds of doctors in all fields, and they all dress funny. Right? But what that means is that the reason it's so hard to organize the community with the doctors is because the doctors have forever and ever had a line of people standing outside their door to see them. All right? So that even when they want to get serious and participate in the community in a wholehearted way, the demand on their time is so great that you can't get the participation that you would like to have. All right, with and the relationships, because there's a big line right outside. Then how doctors are compensated for what they do becomes an issue, because it's not at the top of their mind how they're going to be paid. Because they're going to get paid, and they're going to get paid a greater percent of the income in the community than normal people get, because there's a greater demand for their time and what they do. All right. Now, that's for people that are trying to organize a system for financing health care and for getting health care delivered in some sort of quality standard. It becomes a tremendous barrier. The natural way in which everybody gravitates to somebody who knows more than they do about something that's in a black box. And medicine is in a black box as well. All right, it has its own terminology, and it has its own, it has its own protocols, and it has its own differences, because the practitioners of medicine are many and varied. There's a big gulf between the practice of medicine in the East and the practice of medicine in the West, and the practice of medicine in primitive societies and the practice of medicine in normal societies. And yet the outcomes for both any of those kind of systems are not markedly different. The shocking thing that we discover about our society and Western society in general is the remarkably poor outcomes we have and the remarkably high rate of death there is as a consequence of medical care in the United States. Doctors know it, and they know it very well because they see it all the time, but the patients don't see it so often, and they don't see it being publicized very often. But it's there, and it's easy to see, and it's easy to touch, and there's a lot of things that can be done about it. That's the next black box is insurance. And this is your favorite guy. Buy from me. And for all of us in this society, insurance is truly a black box that we go throw money in. Shut our eyes and hope that nothing happens. All right? Because we don't know how that thing works. And I wouldn't say that except that we had, in the process of doing this cooperative, we had the opportunity over a year to interview 4,000 patients and ask them what they knew about health care for themselves and what they knew about insurance that they had or didn't have and how much they would pay for it. And what we discovered in 4,000 interviews is that awareness, if you put it on a scale of 1 to minus 14, 1 to minus 14, okay, with the minus 14 being delusional as the metaphor for that level, 85% of the people we talked to were delusional. They thought they had something they didn't have. They thought it was free, or they thought they didn't need it, or it was unbelievable. And it didn't make any difference how educated these people were or what income levels they had. But we did find that 3% of the people actually understood what you were talking about and could make a decision about participating with you in a cooperative without saying anything to them. They understood it and got it and went on. But the real challenge in organizing a cooperative is to raise the level of awareness of those 85% of the people who were delusional. All right, now there are people that fall, above that some of them are minus 10 and some of them are minus 5, and then the ones that really are good are minus 3, 2, and 1. When you get to 0, you become happy, I guess. I don't know what happens when you get to 0, but that's a scale that I was taught. It was when something that I thought looks exactly like the black box of medicine. And it also has no lid or handle or key. So that's a characteristic of all of these things that we're dealing with, making what we're doing extremely difficult. The next one, the black box of government. And you know all of these people, and we had to paint them because they wouldn't allow us to photograph it. Okay. And the clue to the black box of government is that we don't understand what it is exactly that goes on in government that's related to what we thought we were doing when we elected people to go up and do something. As an example, Monday we think the government is going to shut down, but no one really knows. That's unbelievable. We thought we had an elected representative, and then we found out we didn't actually elect him. And it doesn't make any difference who you're talking about. It doesn't make any difference what party they're from. The people in the communities are not electing the people that are going there. The people that are going there are being elected by
the Electoral College.
Well, they're being elected by money. They're being elected by influence, but it hasn't changed any in the last 200 years. So we've got a black box of government, is really what it amounts to, that makes it difficult for us to do things to unpack the other two black boxes. Because that black box is dictating a lot of what goes on in medicine and insurance. In insurance, because insurance is a regulated industry by both the federal and the state governments, and it's one of the most powerful financial influences on government. All right? The control of the government of the United States comes mostly from financial community. Right? And that's not a secret. It's talked about by everybody. So we can Move away from this table. Now that's the black box of government. Now, the black box of technology. It's so difficult. They can't even, when they paint the inside of the black box, it becomes a schematic. There's a black box within this black box. What this is the proton accelerator in Houston at MD Anderson Hospital. The picture, they show the patients to tell them what they're going to do when they accelerate a proton beam and then shoot it at a tumor that's in the, in the eye or in the, in the prostate or in some tumor that's hard to get to, and then it evaporates it, and the proton goes into the tumor, heats up, evaporates it, and dissipates before it gets to the other side of the tumor, based on the analysis of where that tumor is located from the imaging that was done and fed to the computer in the first place. That particular procedure is being described here, see? Scanning magnets, proton pencil, and then the tumor, right? High density structure, target volume, critical structure, and it melts the one in the middle. And it doesn't disturb the tissue around, so it's a big breakthrough. Cost them somewhere between $600 million and $1 billion to build that thing, that particle accelerator, in all the places where they're going to redirect it. And you can get that done in Houston if you're rich. If you're rich. You can't get it done because insurance doesn't pay for it yet. They hope it will, but it's not going to pay what they want because they want $50,000 of treatment to do that. All right, and I'll have more to say about that later. That's the black box of technology. But this extends to every piece of equipment that you can imagine, and it's not just medical equipment. It's all of the things that we're using.
Wait, I'm using a black box to do this presentation.
This is one too. I have no, all I can do with this, if it breaks, is throw it away. That's all I can do with it. If I got a television set at home, all I can do with it is throw it away. I can't unpack this, and I can't do anything about it. He has books at his house on how to build things out of this kind of stuff. I can't even read them. I don't know what that's about. All I can do is I go back and read art, Zen and the art of motorcycle maintenance, just to remind myself of how crazy this all is. All right? Now let's see what we got here. Now, here's the bad part about medicine that makes the black box, makes the point of what we're trying to do. It's a good idea to have physicians and patients working together so that the physicians and the patients can teach each other something about human bodies and about disease and about health and about behavior and about friendship and about love and those kind of things. It's good to do that because that will result in lowering the death rate in the United States that's caused by these things. That's a greater loss of life than we've ever had in any war that's ever been fought by this country in its whole history. We lose that many people every year in the United States of America. 783,000 people killed by adverse drug reactions, medical error, bed sores, infection, malnutrition, outpatient, unnecessary procedures, and surgical-related causes. Now, that's the reason to organize. That's the reason to educate. And that's the reason to be in a cooperative. There isn't any other reason. It's not money. It's not saving money. It's trying to save people's lives who are dying. And everybody you meet, it won't take you one or two people until you'll find somebody that's directly related to one of these problems and lost somebody as a consequence of it.